Alright, in this short video I'm going to talk about section 4.2 in the IGCSE marine syllabus. It is based on the new book here from Cambridge for marine science. The first time it's done the IGCSE on a global scale. As always, everything in this video here is for my class, but if anyone else can use it, they're more than welcome to. And any mistakes here are mine and mine alone and does not reflect on Cambridge. So, in section 4.2, we very briefly touch on respiration. And just when we talk about respiration here, I mainly refer to animals, heterotrophs, although it should be known that autotrophs, such as plants, also do respiration. It is not an animal-only issue. Anyway, respiration is the breaking down of organic matter to create energy in the cell. To go a little deeper than the syllabus, it is to break down organic matter to create ATP, which is the currency the cell uses to power everything within the cell. If we can't get any energy in the cell will eventually die. All heterotrophs, which means animals, in this case here, do respiration one way or another. And there's two ways of doing it, aerobic and anaerobic, with or without oxygen. Most animals can do both, but most animals prefer to do it with oxygen, simply because doing it with oxygen releases way more energy than doing it without oxygen. So if there was one formula you really ought to memorize in biology and marine science, it should be this one also, because if you flip the arrow around, you've got the formula for photosynthesis. So in this case here we look at glucoses. We can also break down lipids, proteins, other stuff, but let's look at glucoses. So we break down sugar using oxygen, and what we get is carbon dioxide and water. So carbon dioxide is a waste product, and so is water. And below it I've also listed the equation, but it's most important that you know the word equation here for the Cambridge final. So there's a difference between respiration and gas exchange, and this is something that can confuse students from time to time. Respiration is breaking down organic matter to release energy, mostly by using oxygen. And this takes place within the organism, within the cell, within the mitochondria of the cells. Gas exchange is the uptake of oxygen and the release of CO2. And most multicellular animals, they do require respiratory organs to do so. But even small, like single cell organisms, they do it just by diffusion. So a good respiratory organ allows oxygen to enter the blood and for CO2 to leave the blood. And what is required of a good respiratory surface is a large surface, thin walls, and a very good blood supply. So we're going to take a look at one that is particularly important in the ocean, those of gills. So here we see a model of a gill on a fish. Fish like this is quite active, so it needs a lot of oxygen to power the respiration that can create energy for the muscle. So to do that, it needs a lot of oxygen in the blood. Because of that, the gill have a very large surface area. If you look at the gill under the microscope, you'll see that it's folded and folded several times. So it means that the water that flows over the gills actually flows over a large surface area, which allows more diffusion of oxygen in the blood and more diffusion of CO2 out into the water. We also see that the water flow and the blood flow goes from different directions, so that the blood that has the least oxygen is where the water comes running in, which makes it very easy for it to take up oxygen due to diffusion. Then our red blood cells are filled with oxygen and they release the CO2, and then they can flow back into the organs that need the oxygen. And when the oxygen has been used, they can transport the CO2 back onto the gas exchange organs, and we can keep doing it again and again.